Welcome back to the Eри카쇼. 안녕하세요. 에리카쇼 오신 것을 환영합니다. I'm your host, Erica from 크립토서울, and I talk to the top builders and leaders in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Today in episode 37, we have Gabby Dizon joining the show. Gabby, it's about time you're here, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Erica.
Thank you so much. We've known a lot since way back, I guess, a few years ago, and I've seen you grow and your team grow. It's been an amazing journey, so it'd be wonderful to have you and share your journey with us. So before we go deeper, can you kind of share with us who you are and what you currently do?
Sure. So very quick background. My name is Gabby Dizon, and I'm from the Philippines. My background is as a game developer. I've been making games since 2003 and mobile games since 2014. In 2017, we discovered Ethereum and the concept of smart contracts, and we were trying to see how the concept of programmable immutable money would make its way to the game industry. And while we were doing that research, CryptoKitties came out in late 2017, crashed the Ethereum network, and popularized the non-fungible token. So when I saw that you could put unique tokens on the blockchain and then use them basically as game items, like I was instantly hooked. I thought this was the thing that was going to revolutionize the game industry. So really kind of fell in love with the technology and dove headfirst into NFTs. So I've been in the NFT space since very early 2018. We started making our own NFT-based game called Battle Racers, which we put on Decentraland. I joined the Axie community as a player in October 2018, when I met one of the founders, Jiho, who I invited to Manila to give a talk about Axie Infinity. He gave me 3 Axies, and that was kind of my start in the community. Yeah, been playing Axie since then. And last year was really kind of in the middle of intersection of NFTs and DeFi, trying to see what the different cases of NFTs are. So I was collecting crypto art, I was doing fractionalization, NFT lending, collateralization, a lot of different interesting things to see what you can do with NFTs. And yeah, that's the very quick background.
Wow. You just touched upon so many major topics that I do want to talk about. But you've been, I think, in the middle of every major trend regarding NFTs. And I've seen you everywhere. And it's just amazing how you're so, you're a pioneer, basically, in this space. And I'm, in awe of what you've done so far. And, tell us more about Yield Guild Games as well, and, how it all began and, what its goal is. It'll be great to have that intro as well.
Okay, so Yield Guild happened last year. Actually, it was this time last year when people from the northern Philippines, and I actually didn't know anyone of these, in the rural areas, they found Axie Infinity as a way to escape economic hardship during the early COVID lockdown. So these people were kind of really like ordinary people who were laid off, no income, very desperate, looking for ways online to make money, and they found Axie Infinity. So they didn't know what crypto was. They downloaded the game, started playing, and then when it was time to cash out, they took their SLP tokens, learned how to use Uniswap, swap SLP for Ether, and then Ether eventually to fiat.
Right.
And they realized that they could make 3-4 times more money playing this game than the jobs that they were laid off from. So that was really huge back then. And the initial surge of user base this time last year actually got up to 5,000 users. It's crazy to think right now, but yeah, Axie had around 5,000 users this time last year, and it was a real all-time high back then. And on top of that, the people who were swapping SLP for Ethereum, they were all recipients of the Uni airdrop. So it was like Christmas. It was like 12 months salary for most people. So it was a really crazy time that showed the power of the intersection of NFTs and DeFi, using the Axies, which are NFTs, to produce tokens, the SLP that could be swapped on Uniswap. So that was a really amazing time. And at the same time, people in the community figured out that you could actually lend your Axies to other people and then do a revenue share on the SLP that was earned. So that is now called the scholarship program. And people were organically discovering this and doing this in the Axie community. And that's when I figured, what if we can scale the impact that scholarships were giving? If we can do this in a scaled up manner create a gaming guild, you know, in the same way that there's a guild for RuneScape or World of Warcraft, but scale it as a DAO where the guild itself would own the NFTs, raise some capital, and then buy and breed these Axies to provide them to as large a scholar base as possible. So that was the genesis for Yield Guild. So I teamed up with two co-founders, Beryl, who is from the fintech side in really deep crypto exchange and wallet experience, and Owl of Moistness, who is a smart contract developer who is very well known in the Axie community. So the three of us started Yield Guild. We raised some capital led by Delphi Digital, started buying Axies and breeding them, and yeah, just started scaling our scholarship program. So that's what happened last year.
Oh, wow. So much happened. And I think this is amazing because it's happened during COVID, right? And, you know, when there was no hope, basically, I think people were, yeah, as you said, getting laid off. And not only in Philippines, but I think all over the world, it's been hard times for all of us. And I think like it was the timing really just kicked right in the core, right? And I think it's all about timing, to be honest. Everything is about timing.
Everything is about timing. I don't think that Axie would have scaled as much as it had if it weren't for COVID. I don't think the DeFi summer would have happened if it weren't for COVID, honestly.
Right, absolutely. And I think NFTs as well. I think that trend and DeFi and NFTs together, that, you know, that's a huge topic for us these days. But I think that topic as well has gotten so much bigger due to COVID as well. And, you know, people look at the screen all the time and all we see like cute NFTs all around. And I think that really influenced our perspective in a lot of ways, and also the metaverse. And so many things to touch upon, but you mentioned about the scholarship model, but can you explain further like how the manager and scholar model works? Because like I think some are mentioning about, you know, if there's like manager abuse of scholars, like how do you solve it? And can you show that whole process?
Yeah, so we have a pretty different model in that we work with a lot of independent managers that work with scholars. And what we do is that we kind of enforce at the smart contract level what the revenue share is. So our scholars or players, they receive 70% of the SLP that they produce. The managers take 20%, and us as the guild, we take 10%. And what happens is that each independent manager, who are not employees, they're basically their own community members, they recruit and train the scholars from all over the world. So we have scholars in Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, India, Venezuela, Brazil, and a few other countries. And yeah, so they're the ones that kind of train, teach people how to play the game, teach them how to use a wallet. And in turn, these managers use the technology that we developed to kind of automate the whole scholarship process. And the good thing about this is that because the payouts are automated, there's kind of no chance that there would be, I would say, kind of cheating in like sending revenue share to other people. So we all automate this. Also, it saves a lot of time on the manager side. So all they really need to think about is recruit more scholars and then train them.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. I think the process is very new, and also people are unfamiliar with the process. So I think a very interesting model. And you know, this play to earn model, I think it's a huge topic, of course, again, all across the crypto space. And I think it is a very fascinating concept. And it's a huge, I think it has a lot of potential as well. I'm sure you're a huge advocate, of course, but can you share like your general take on it? I mean, there are some ups and downs, of course. And I think some people are concerned that, you know, it might not be sustainable because of, you know, it takes out of the fun factor. And, you know, it's still a little bit lacking the fun aspect, I guess. And so can you share like on that perspective, like what you think of that opinion?
So Play to Earn was created by Axie last year, and it's specifically using NFTs to play the game and earn some kind of fungible token reward. And the interesting thing about this fungible token reward, which is SLP in Axie's case, is that because you can sync your token reward on chain, you can receive it on your wallet. Now you can swap to ETH and Uniswap, but it wouldn't have value if there weren't anyone buying it. So the question is, it's always who's buying it? Where's the money coming from? In SLP's case, it is used as a resource that is burned every time you breed two Axies to create a new one. And everyone who wants to play Axie Infinity and earn money, they need 3 Axies. So so it's the breeders that are selling them these Axies, and to create these Axies to breed, they need SLP. So they're the ones that end up buying the SLP from the farmers or from the scholars. So it's a very elegant growth loop. I would say that arguably it's one of the best growth loops I've ever seen, better than the Hotmail or the PayPal growth loops. And the great thing about that is that Axie itself, the Sky Mavis, the company behind it, they pay 0 money for user acquisition. It's the breeders that are actually paying for SLP that these farmers are using. So yeah, it's one of the best growth loops I've ever seen. Of course, there is always the question of sustainability. And the way I put it is that you also ask about how sustainable it is to use, for example, paying for Facebook ads and Google ads in your company. At the end of the day, people have to stay and pay for other things in your game, in your social application, in your social network. It's no different. So people have to do other things. So it could be esports, for example. It could be land gameplay when it opens. It could be people are buying mystics or land. So that's how it works. Of course, the growth loop is a great way to bring more users to your network. But once you're there, they need to be doing other things, and they need to be spending on other things.
Right, absolutely. Okay, thanks so much. And as this is producing a lot of jobs for potential job opportunities, what kind of other jobs can come out of this trend? I mean, can you think of some other, if we branch out more, can there be more jobs coming, a type of jobs? What kind of interesting job categories can come out of this?
So this is actually my favorite topic. We call Yield Guild the job board of the metaverse.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
It's an employment agency of the metaverse. And the reason for that is that we ease the onboarding of people from the physical world into the metaverse so that they can find their jobs in these games and the virtual worlds. And player itself is just one of these jobs. In Axie Infinity, you have, for example, breeder, you have the content creator / YouTuber, you have the professional esports player. And if you go to other games like Sandbox, you can have something like avatar creator, digital fashion designer, level designer. So for me, there's really just a host of new kinds of jobs that will allow people to express their individual creativity and earn money via crypto in the metaverse. And yeah, just pick a game. It will have its own different ways for letting people express themselves and earn an income from it. And this is the part that's most exciting for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the physical world, if you apply the jobs created in the physical world to the metaverse, I think it creates a whole different spectrum. And also it's just doubling, I think, and more plus. So it's going to be very fascinating. It's just the beginning, I think. And as you mentioned about other games as well, how does YGG plan to participate in various games with different models? How does the application happen in different models per se? Yeah.
So we're most known for our scholarship operations in Axie Infinity. What people don't know is that we've invested in 11 games overall. So we actually have a very vibrant community in Splinterlands, where we also have our own scholarship model there. We have a very active League of Kingdoms, where we already have 3 alliances, so over 100 people who are actively playing there. We're in Formula 1 Delta Time and Rev Racing. We're in Sandbox. We've bought NFTs in Guild of Guardians. We have a city in Ember Sword. We have over 80 horses in Zedrun. So yeah, so we're actually very active in different kinds of games that have a play-to-earn capacity.
Oh, wow. So it happens in parallel, I guess, and there's so many different opportunities that people can participate in. And it was exciting in July this July when you announced the launch of the YGG DAO. And this is really innovative. What inspired you to launch a DAO, and what's your experience so far? Operating it with other members.
Okay, so we always wanted to launch a DAO because we wanted the players or the community themselves to own the protocol, right? To own the guild itself. And it's kind of impractical to do from an equity standpoint. So it was always designed to have a token that the members could earn, not buy. That said, we didn't want to launch with a token because you would attract people who would try to get in early and just try to sell at a higher price. And like we wanted to attract people who were really interested in the vision of play to earn, building out the guild, helping other people, super passionate about NFTs. And we've largely managed to attract that community. But it was time for us to basically have a price for the token and have our community earn it, because that's always been the vision and the promise of what Yield Guild is. So 45% of our token supply is reserved for our community to earn doing various activities. So we put up a basic version of our website where you can mint our guild badge, and our guild badge is actually the opening to a lot of different activities you can do in the metaverse that can earn you the YGG token. So sometime in the near future, we're going to have what we call our community mining website, where you can there is going to be quests that will be available in our partner games and applications. And when you do those quests, you'll receive the YGG token. So we have an active contribution model to earning YGG. We don't want to just be people to be providing liquidity and then selling YGG once they receive it. We want people to be actively earning it and really wanting to earn it.
Yeah, and being a part of it in the longer run, I think that's like what really matters. I think that the crypto space really has suffered a lot through the pumps and dumps, and I think the DAOs really help alleviate that and to help like a more long-term sustainable community. And you also introduced the concept of sub DAOs, and that's very interesting as well. Why is that meaningful and necessary as well? And how's that currently running? Can you update us with that?
Yeah, so sub DAOs are necessary because people don't want to be in a guild with 100,000 people, right? Like it's just too impersonal. You want to be playing a game with maybe 5 of your friends, or with 20 people in your group, or maybe just 50 people in the whole alliance. And the sub DAOs are a way to do that. So a sub DAO is basically a guild within a guild within YGG that has its own assets, that has its own token, and will have its own localized governance. So we've done this only for one game so far, League of Kingdoms, where we put the 86 land estate that we bought into its own multi-sig. Then we minted a token against it, and we had people who were active in the game only buy the token for the cost of us acquiring the land. So now they're like partial owners of the land estate, and not only are they playing the game, they're actually also governing what will happen to the land and what will happen to the rewards that are built on top of that land. So it's super cool. Really, really like it. And going to the future, we're going to have a lot of different sub DAOs for maybe different games, like, for example, Zed Run or Formula What Delta Time. We're going to have sub DAOs of people who are from a certain area, like Southeast Asia or China or Brazil. We're going to have sub DAOs maybe for like a group of friends that just want to play their own games and not be bothered by everyone else. So for me, like the basic unit of
I think you broke up a little bit. Oh.
Sorry, I lost you for a bit.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll cut this part, but yeah, you were mentioning about the part and then just kind of buzzed off. Sorry. How would you like to finish the question? Should we finish that question, or should we move on to the next question?
Yeah. So so for sub DAOs, we just want people to play with their groups, and we want to be able to enable that, like no matter how small or how big a sub DAO would be, we would be enabling that within Yield Guild.
Yeah, so the sub DAOs would be categorized into different standards, like as you mentioned, the region might be one, and also yeah, the friendship aspect, like having a small clique, and also
That's right.
like different topics games. So it's very flexible, I would say, and very fascinating. I think that would be very effective for a lot of the people participating in the games and the sub DAOs. So yeah, thanks for that recap. And also you finished a very successful public sale on Miso sushi. So how was that experience? Because I've heard some projects raising on sushi Miso, but wanted to hear your experience on it, and very surreal experience for you. Congratulations on that.
Yeah. So when it was time to do our IDO, we were trying to figure out which platform we would work on. We chose Miso because we really liked the sushi team and community and wanted to partner with them long term.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have our token on SushiSwap as well. So talked to Maki and the others from the team, and yeah, decided to go on Miso. We sold 12.5 million USDC of the token, and yeah, sold it out in 31 seconds. So it went very quickly. It was a Dutch auction, but like the price was supposed to go down, but in the first 30 seconds, like everything was gone. So that was kind of really shocking to us, I would say. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, people were very surprised, but I think like they expected it because of this huge, interest in YGG. And so congratulations again. This is a coincidence that I'm interviewing Malky pretty soon. So that'd be very exciting.
Very cool.
And then just before you, I interviewed Santiago. So he was a huge fan of yours. So which very nice sequence of interviewees, and this is great. Very cool. So kind of let's go back to like maybe some general topics that I would love to have your insight about, because there's been a recent comeback of the NFT boom. Of course, it's been continuous, but then I think like it just comes and goes, like what's really the next big thing, and I think it's just coming back, like having a huge boom. How do you think it's different from last time, if it is any different, or what do you think it's going to be here for a longer run? Like what's going to pop up next? Do you have any like predictions or expectations for the space?
So last year, this time, NFTs were kind of booming. And yeah, crypto art was getting discovered. And then it did so again in a very huge way in the first quarter of this year. NBA Top Shots absolutely blew up. And then art did as well with people, most notably. And now I think a lot of, there's two things that are really blowing up. Profile photos, collectible avatars, and play to earn. So those are the two that are really blowing up, and I think they're very interconnected because they both relate to the metaverse. The avatars or the PFPs are related to what your identity is in the metaverse, right? And with I think in the metaverse, it's like there's no singular identity. It depends on who you want to be, depending on the context, depending on which friends you're with, or which world you're in. So I think it's a very nascent technology, and like people are using it mostly to change their Twitter profile photos, but you fast forward 2 years, we'll be laughing at this, and people will be using their avatars to really walk across the different online worlds. That's what I really believe. And play to earn is great because it onboards people into the metaverse, into these different games with blockchain-based economies, and kind of fills out the online game economies where people can actually earn value and trade value and earn a living doing so. So these are major themes going forward. I think, like, if you think of metaverse as a trend, we're probably at the start of kind of a decade of really building out what people think the open metaverse should be. I think it should be a series of different compatible and interconnected worlds that are connected with the blockchain being a common economic layer. It would be really great for me to buy an NFT, an avatar, and have it playable in different online worlds, have it represent myself as my identity. And and me being able to own these NFTs in my wallet and represent them in various worlds in different ways.
Right. I think I've seen on national Korean media about artists like Mr. Misang. He's been using his avatar and it moves when on his face, and he's been interviewed that way, and that was really fascinating. I think people were just like, exemplifying it as like the next level. And you can literally put that, on your face when you're interviewing live, which is really awesome. And it just kind of displays what's going to happen next and more commonly in the future. So that was very impressive on my end. Do you have any, besides your project and Axie, I guess, what are some projects that you found exceptionally impressive recently in the NFT space? Can you name a few?
So I think what OpenSea has done has just been incredible. Like they've been since like early 2018 and have really scaled, and now they're kind of one of the major backbones, I would say, of the entire NFT space. I really like some of the collectible projects. So for example, Bored Apes has done an incredible job of building community. I also like Meebits. Like I wasn't that much into punks, so I'm not a big punks fan as most other people are, but I'm actually, I like Meebits a lot more because they are designed to be kind of like metaverse avatars from day one. Yeah, and I use a lot of the different crypto art platforms like Foundation, for example, Super Rare, Known Origin, Maker's Place. I buy from all of them.
Right. It's been there for a while, right? And since, early back in 2018. And I remember in BIDL Asia, the conference, and we had this panel, and it was like literally filled with people who are like now big shots right now in the NFT space. It brings me back to those wonderful memories. But it's really amazing how OpenSea grew recently. It's explosive. And thanks for your insight on that. And let's move on to maybe some long-term, upcoming milestones for YGG in 2021, the rest of 2021, and also maybe for next year, and any exciting things coming on your end. It'd be great to share with us, the audience. Yeah.
So we're scaling the Axie operations in a big way. We're at a little under 5,000 scholars now. And for us, there's just so much ground to cover. We want to be at maybe around 15,000 by the end of the year. But why not provide scholarships to 100,000 people, 1 million people? This is the thing we're trying to answer. So I think we've barely gotten started. There are millions of people that would want to earn money via play to earn, whether it's via Axie, it's via Sandbox, it's via Guild of Guardians. And our mission is really to be able to deliver these experiences to them, especially for those that can't afford the upfront cost of the NFTs, and for people to be able to find their own squad, their own guild, their own group to play with, and via Yield Guild be able to play these games. So this is really the mission that is driving us. And yeah, we've just really at the beginning of this. So apart from scaling the Axie operations and the other games, we're continuously investing in both NFTs and tokens in new games. So we've recently onboarded a head of investments, and we're looking at a ton of projects that we want to support, not only investing into the NFTs, into the governance token, providing community support, having players there from day one, beta testing your game. So we're a different kind of investor in that we're not a VC. We don't have LPs. We're investing from the DAO's balance sheet, basically. But we are there to kind of help these game economies get off the ground and for our players to make money while contributing to these games.
Wow, that's quite a milestone for you to achieve in the end of year. Wow, I think you can achieve it, to be honest.
And we're not even 1 year old, by the way. Yield Guild is basically 10 months old. We turned one in October, and it's just been a crazy ride, especially seeing how well the token is done and how much value our players are gonna get out of it. It's been a crazy year.
Yeah, you're saving the economy, the hurt by COVID. I've seen the inspiring documentary on Axie and also on play to earn aspect, and that. What is the atmosphere actually like in the Philippines? I mean, I've seen on documentary, but in your perspective, what do you see in the crypto scene in Philippines? Is there any other game other than Axie that they like, or what is your view? Very curious about your personal.
Axie has absolutely taken over the Philippines. It's more popular than Ethereum. Yeah, and people know about Axie and probably play Axie without knowing much about crypto itself. So
Right.
the kind of the promise of games and crypto games being kind of the mass adoption driver for blockchain crypto, it's actually starting to come true here in the Philippines. And the interesting thing is that it's not coming from the kind of higher income level society. It's actually coming from the kind of the more, I would say, people who are really looking for alternative ways to make income. So the people who are jobless, laid off, stuck at home, a lot of them are the ones that are actually playing and earning money, and the ones that are really reaping the benefits of blockchain technology and crypto economies. And yeah, it's really changed the Philippines to the point where people are wondering if they should still stay at their jobs or quit and play Axie full time. And I'm not kidding. This is 100% true.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think people like, because if on the other side of the world, like I'm in Asia, so I also feel the power of popularity of Axie, because I was recently in Vietnam. So I think like it's kind of blew up there as well. And Korea is just starting and it's blowing up. So yeah, I think it's really like I can feel it, but I think some people cannot really feel it because they don't know, they haven't seen it. So it's really nice to hear from you. I'm sure you get so many questions and so many, like requests from fellow Filipino, like I guess wannabes who want to play Axie and who want to get on this journey. So yeah, thanks for that. And yeah, I mean, it's so great to like hear your vision and I guess what you have like passion in this space. But in like a more personal view, like not only for YGG but for you as a figure in crypto, previously in like huge game guru, I guess. What do you see like as a long-term vision for you, and also like what do you want to contribute to the space? You're already a huge contributor in many ways, but like it'd be really nice to hear like what you have in the longer, I guess, vision.
I've always wanted to say that I want to build the metaverse that my kids will inhabit.
Yeah.
So my kids are 10 and 12, and they're actually they have their own crypto, and they're playing games like Minecraft or Roblox, which for me is like Metaverse 1.0. These are virtual worlds that are multiplayer and they're hanging out with their friends, but like they're not interoperable. They're closed platforms. And I think that eventually, maybe even when they start earning their money, they'll be doing it like within the metaverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and as I said earlier, like there's so much to be done. And I wanna just feel like I laid down some of the bricks for the future metaverse that my kids will be inhabiting.
Oh, that's a great point. My kids go through CryptoVoxel, and it just feels like so fulfilling, like to see them like navigate around and like see the NFT art proposed by it's really fascinating, and they just don't do it without any, I guess, obstacles. And I think they have no bias, right? And that's the next like generation to come. And I think, as you mentioned, it's a very meaningful, I guess, task that we were doing to set really good grounds for our future generations. So that's a great vision to have. Yeah, Gabby, thanks so much for, being on the show. I learned so much from you, and, as always, and it's always great to talk to you. And I look forward to seeing you in real person. If there's, I've heard that there's going to be a Axie like maybe summit or conference. Is it true, or is it like
we're going to do, I don't know when, because we'll see what the world looks like, but we're going to do a huge play to earn conference in the Philippines next year, probably at the back half of the year. But it'll feature Axie, of course, the other play to earn games, the tens of thousands of people in the Philippines that are into play to earn, or hundreds of thousands even, and we'll have speakers flying in from all over the world. So I'm super excited to make that happen.
I'm going to, if you'll ever invite me, but
absolutely.
I would love to attend it and see it, witness it, and I can't wait. So thank you so much, Gabby, and enjoy this moment. Thank you, and I hope to see you in real person soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.